guys. So we have in front of us some little baby barrels.
Yeah,
How big are these barrels?
so these are 30-gallon barrels.
It's great.
We actually age our whiskey in 3 different types of barrels. We'll do 15-gallon barrels, 30-gallon barrels, and then also 53-gallon barrels.
Oh wow! So this is like the mid-sized barrel.
Yeah,
for aging.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
we'll age these for a period of at least 18 months to 2 years. And when we're done, we have, our whiskey.
Great. So 18 months to 2 years, and is that legal for what makes a whiskey? Is there a certain aging amount of time that you have to have the spirit inside the barrel for to be able to call it whiskey?
So there's different requirements for certain types of spirits. Something, for instance, straight whiskey has to be aged for a period of at least 2 years. And then there's different requirements for labeling if it's aged for a longer period. So there's not necessarily an exact time of when whiskey has to be aged, but there is if you want to call it a certain product.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And so then why barrels? Why store and age in oak barrels?
Well, they're going to store in, these are new American oak barrels, so they're going to store in the barrels for, like Brandon said, for somewhere around 18 months to 2 years. And you're going to get a lot of those color, first of all. It's going to get, the spirit initially goes in the barrel as a clear spirit, and you're going to get that color from the barrel. You're going to get a lot of those tannic oak type flavors from the barrels. You're going to get a lot of that caramel, vanilla, all these different characters that you wouldn't get unless you aged it in a barrel.
Yeah, so you get a lot of good color and then good flavors and aromas that come from the oak.
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely. What people think of as an aged whiskey, a brown whiskey. So.
Got it. Got it. So it goes in clear and then it turns that sort of brown, darker brown color. How long does that take for the color change to happen inside the barrel?
It's actually real quick. Within days, you'll start seeing the difference in color. Really, at least in these barrels specifically, the real dark color doesn't come on until about maybe a year.
Okay, so about a year to get really, really dark
that
color.
rich red, brown color.
And then barrels come from all over the place. Where do these particular barrels come from?
So these are all sourced the Missouri area, kind of the west part where that oak is real prevalent. And like Chris was saying, these are all new American oak, heavy char barrels so we can eventually call it a bourbon.
Heavy char barrels.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. So the inside is basically just black from the fire. Right?
Yeah, it's almost like they call it an alligator char. It has that blackness over the wood, but it has some striations in the wood from that charring kind of breaking apart as it gets charred to that level.
Got it. So after you take the whiskey out of the barrel and it's empty, can you put anything back in it? Is it good to use again?
The barrel itself?
Yeah.
So not if you're going to be calling it bourbon. All bourbon has to be aged in new American oak.
Oh, okay.
So if we wanted to call it a different type of whiskey, we could. Irish whiskey and Scottish whiskey, for instance, are aged in used bourbon barrels. So we couldn't call it Irish whiskey because we're not in Ireland, but we could call it something different. Or even rum is done in used bourbon barrels. So
got it. So you couldn't call it whiskey, but you can make different products with those barrels.
Yes. Yeah. So let's start filling this one and show you what the spirit looks like going in. Yeah.
So you just use a pump and...
Yeah, so he's going to turn on that pump, and we're going to start filling this barrel.
Okay.
So what you can kind of see here is there's just the white spirit.
Yep.
Right, just going directly in the barrel.
Once again, no color because it hasn't touched the charred barrel yet.
Nope, nothing yet. So it's just a very clear spirit at this point.
Yeah,
So
and you can really smell it from here.
Yeah, you can smell that. I mean, really, those heart sections that we took out of the still earlier, you can smell that in this.
Wow.
And that oakiness from the barrel, you can definitely smell that as it's coming out. It's pushing those vapors up.
That's one of my
towards
favorite smells, actually, is a brand new barrel being filled.
Yes.
Because you get the alcohol from it, you get that good smell, right? But then you get the caramel and the vanilla and some of those great oaky, woody sort of aromas coming right. I mean, it's just super fragrant. You can smell it from here.
When we took it before, too, obviously it's all proofed back to its correct proof before we put it in the barrel at this point.
Right.
But we added the spirit to a hydrometer, and Brandon can kind of show you that here, but this is just the clear spirit itself. You can see how clear it is.
So there's not water in there?
No, not
so
water.
This is a white whiskey, yeah.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll take our spirit, which is about 160 proof, and then we'll proof it back with good quality, like we're saying, reverse osmosis water, and we'll proof it down to barreling strength. So what you can see is this hydrometer floats and tells us what the tells us what the proof is of the spirit. So we'll barrel age around 120 proof, so 60%.
Okay.
And that's what this is at right here.
So how do you read that real quick? Can we?
So yeah, read it. It has different See up there it says.
It's right around 125 proof right now, but with the temperature changes, I mean, obviously we made sure it was at that correct proof before, but depending on the temperature of the spirit, that hydrometer is going to raise and lower with the density. So it's 125 on that, but 120 going in the barrel.
Right. So if the spirit got a lot colder, the hydrometer would be poking further out of the whiskey.
It would fall.
Yeah, actually,
it would sink further down the colder it gets.
Yeah. Correct. The higher the temperature, the higher the proof is.
Okay.
Right?
Got it. Got it. Yeah. So, so you use the barrels once, and they're brand new, and then you take it out and you bottle it, and then where do we get it after it's bottled?
Yes. So after that, we bottle it, and we have a distributor that distributes our product, and we have about 150 to 200 retail accounts or accounts statewide, and that includes retail and also on-premise, which is bars and restaurants.
Okay.
But then we're also able to sell here at the tasting room. We have a small tasting room here.
And there was a law that just changed, right?
Yeah, there was a bill that was passed in January this year that allows distilleries that produce less than 50,000 gallons a year to be able to sell on site. So we fell into that category, so we're technically have a craft distiller's license now, so we can sell directly out of our tasting room here. People come and do tours and tastings.
That's great, because previously you could come here and do a tour, but you couldn't sell anybody any of your product, right?
Correct.
You couldn't just come and buy a bottle of whiskey, which is unfortunate. Just like you would be able to at a winery or a brewery. Yeah, you guys weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah, we were hindered on doing direct distribution through our distributor. So it's nice that we can offset that a little bit now, and we can actually have some sales in the distillery to help offset some costs.
Yeah, that's great. So people can come by, make an appointment, and stop by the distillery.
Yep.
And taste your stuff and purchase some stuff. Huh?
Yeah,
correct.
Great. Yeah. Do a small tour, learn how the process goes, and do some tasting, and walk out with a bottle. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Sure.
So then there are other places that you can get it too. So you can get it at retail locations, and then also in bars, maybe.
Yeah, bars, restaurants. You know, we have a lot of good restaurants and bars locally that feature our products, and also actually up in Geyserville, where we're going to go and show you that location. It's a place called the Geyserville Gun Club, which sells our spirits.
And guns too? Wait a minute. Yeah. You're taking me to a gun club?
But we'll be able to taste our spirit. We're going to do some mixing with some cocktails, and it's going to be a great little environment there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to go, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.